Have you ever noticed how just being near certain people instantly drains you? And the worst part, they do it with a smile on their face. Some days you wake up feeling good, energized, optimistic, ready, but then you cross paths with someone, and suddenly your motivation disappears. Your confidence shrinks. It feels like magic, but it's something else entirely. And the hardest part? No one else sees it. Only you feel it. For years, you might have called that sensitivity, but what if I told you it's not sensitivity? It's a power no one ever taught you how to use, a power that, when misunderstood, makes you carry pain, guilt, and exhaustion that were never yours to begin with. Today, I'm going to show you how to break this invisible cycle that's been stealing your peace, even inside your own home. There are 12 emotional keys. Each one unlocks a knot that's been holding you back. And the final key? That one might bring back a strength you forgot you even had. I only reveal it at the end, but I promise you'll walk away from this video feeling lighter, clearer, and stronger. Before we begin, drop a comment below. Have you ever received a gift disguised as kindness that felt more like judgment? Just recognizing that is already a form of liberation. 1. Don't take it personally. Have you ever found yourself replaying something someone said days later in your head? Sometimes it wasn't even an insult, just a tone, a glance, a careless comment, but it stuck to you like it was tattooed on your soul. The truth is, what hurts us most isn't usually loud. It's subtle, and that's the trap. You start believing maybe it's your fault. Maybe you were too sensitive. Maybe you deserved it. But here's a truth that might set you free. It was never about you. When someone puts you down, dismisses you, or tries to shrink your worth, what they're really showing is a reflection of their own broken mirror. People who are at war with themselves don't know how to speak peace. And still, we take it in. We carry it like it's true. There's even a word for it in psychology: introjection. It's when you internalize someone else's emotional baggage and start treating it as your own. You begin to doubt your intuition, question your value. You adjust your behavior, trying to avoid more hurt. But the more you adjust, the more you lose sight of yourself. Take a breath right now. You are not responsible for anyone else's unresolved emotions. What others say, feel, or project is not a reflection of who you are. It's about them. From now on, whenever someone throws something toxic your way, breathe and repeat silently, "This isn't mine." That simple phrase will bring you back to what is yours: your clarity, your peace, your presence. You weren't born to carry emotional baggage that doesn't belong to you. Share in the comments a moment when you realized you took something too personally. I'll reply with a powerful tip to help you shield your energy next time. 2. Protect your energy with intention. Ever notice how some days everything gets to you? Like your skin is thinner than usual? Every weird glance, every offhand remark, every bad vibe hits like a dart. That's because your energy is open, and when it's unguarded, anything can get in. Many people think protecting your energy means isolating yourself, putting up walls, or acting cold. But real protection? It starts with your intention. And here's a little-known secret. You can activate an energetic shield in under 60 seconds. And it's invisible, silent, and incredibly powerful. The practice is simple, but it takes presence. The next time you wake up, before reaching for your phone, close your eyes for a moment and say to yourself, "Today, I choose not to absorb what isn't mine. My energy is my home. I am the filter, not the sponge." As you repeat the phrase, picture a soft light surrounding your body. This light isn't fantasy. It's a symbol, and your brain responds to symbols with more power than logic ever could. What you visualize with intention, your emotional system begins to process as real. You might look the same on the outside, but inside you shifted into another state. That's the difference between reacting and leading, between living on autopilot or with awareness. When you activate this ritual, even the most difficult situations can pass through you without sticking. Remember, protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's self-love. It's not about shutting the world out. It's about choosing wisely what comes in and what stays out, because peace isn't luck. Peace is a practice, and it begins before the day even starts. Want to learn this energetic ritual in more detail? Comment, "I want my energy shield," and I'll send you a simple step-by-step to start using it right away. 3. Don't react. Just breathe. You know those moments when your reaction comes before your thoughts? The words come flying out, and seconds later, regret shows up. Maybe it was a misunderstood text, a tone of voice that rubbed you the wrong way, a gesture that felt disrespectful, and suddenly you're caught in a reaction that only fuels chaos and drains your energy. But here's a timeless truth, taught by Buddhist teachers for centuries. The space between stimulus and response is where your freedom lives. You don't have to reply right away. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to explain anything. You can just breathe. Breathing is more than a physical function. It's a silent command, a gentle interruption of your automatic loop. Just 3 seconds of conscious breath activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your body that calms, centers, and brings you back home. That tiny pause, that's where your power lives, because reactivity equals absence of choice. But conscious breath brings your power of choice back online. And here's the thing. The silence that follows a deep breath isn't emptiness. It's presence. It's grounded strength. It's the kind of response that can shut down an attack without saying a word. You don't need to win every argument. You need to protect your peace. So the next time something triggers you, try this. Touch your thumb and index finger together, breathe, and silently say, "I choose not to react." It's almost invisible on the outside, but inside you, it's a full-on emotional reset. Ready to start using this today? Comment, "Breath is my power." I'll send you a 3-minute practice that can shift how you deal with conflict for good. Dordenju, say no without guilt. Every time you've said yes when you meant no, you gave up a piece of yourself, and maybe you didn't even notice. Because from an early age, you were taught that being nice meant pleasing people, that to be accepted, you had to go along, that love meant saying yes, endlessly. So you agreed. You smiled when you didn't want to. You sat through draining social events. You said yes to things that left you exhausted, all just to avoid disappointing anyone, to keep the peace, to stay the understanding one. But there's a hidden cost to that habit. You end up abandoning yourself. Here's what no one told you. Every yes that silences a no turns into anger. Anger that builds up as burnout, anxiety, unexplained sadness, and even physical symptoms. Because it's not natural to silence yourself to be loved. It's not fair to bend who you are just to be accepted. Saying no doesn't make you selfish. Saying no is how you draw a boundary between what you give and what you allow. And this is important. It's not about yelling or being aggressive. The most powerful no is calm, clear, and unapologetic. It doesn't over-explain. It doesn't carry guilt. It doesn't need a long story. Start small. Decline an invitation without making excuses. Say no to a favor that would drain you. Close the door on conversations that leave you feeling depleted. Because if someone gets offended by your no, they were probably too used to unlimited access to your energy. And guess what? You're not responsible for other people's disappointment. You're responsible for keeping your soul intact. Share in the comments. When was the last time you said yes when your whole body was screaming no? I'll reply with a personalized tip to help you handle it with ease next time. 5. Active compassion, not self-erasure. You were taught to be too good, to listen to everything, to say yes to everything, to carry the weight of the world with a smile. They called it compassion. But what it really was? Silence, submission, self-abandonment. Real compassion doesn't mean breaking yourself to heal someone else. It doesn't mean saying it's okay when it's absolutely not. It doesn't mean turning someone else's pain into your permanent address. You can love someone deeply and still say, that's enough. You can empathize with someone's suffering without carrying it like it's your job. That's active compassion. It's when you see with empathy, but respond with clarity. It's when you listen with an open heart. But don't let yourself become the bridge they walk all over. Too often, we confuse compassion with passivity. And that confusion usually comes from a wound. Maybe you were taught to stay quiet in order to keep the peace. Maybe you grew up believing that love means enduring pain. But love that requires constant suffering? That's not love. That's a learned pattern. And here's the truth. You can be light without dimming yourself for anyone. Your compassion doesn't have to come from guilt. It can come from consciousness. You don't have to suffer to prove your love. In fact, real compassion begins when you include yourself in the circle of care, when you stop treating yourself as an exception and start treating yourself as a priority. Your pain matters too, and you don't have to shrink to fit inside someone else's emotional chaos. Have you ever mistaken compassion for self-sacrifice? Share your experience. I want to help you see the line between holding space and losing yourself. 6. Stop trying to fix people. Have you ever caught yourself trying to convince someone to treat you better? Explaining your pain over and over, hoping that someday they'll get it, they'll change, they'll finally wake up. It's a common trap, especially when you love deeply. You believe that if you're clear enough, patient enough, strong enough, they'll transform, but they don't. And here's what most people don't realize. That kind of effort has a hidden cost. You end up trying to renovate a house where you were never truly welcome. The urge to fix someone usually comes from the hope of saving the relationship. But here's a truth that hurts before it heals. You can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. And more than that, you weren't made to. Every time you cling to the thought, once they change, things will be okay, you put your life on hold. You postpone your peace, your joy, your freedom, in exchange for a promise that never delivers. And here's the cruel part. Sometimes people only change when you walk away. And even then, not always. That's why what you need to let go of isn't just the other person. It's the idea that your love has to be proven through suffering. That someone will love you right if you just hang on long enough. Letting go isn't giving up. Letting go is choosing yourself. It's stepping out of the emotional tug-of-war that's only hurting you and making room for relationships that honor you without needing to be convinced. And when you finally let go, the relief is instant. Feel like you've been stuck waiting for someone to change? Drop this in the comments. I'm letting go. I'll reply with a practical technique to help you release the emotional tie, with no drama, no guilt. 7. Observe. Don't absorb. Some words feel like hooks. They grab you, pull you in, and hold you there. All it takes is someone saying something passive-aggressive, sarcastic, or just being honest. And suddenly, you're tangled up, explaining yourself, trying to fix things, replaying it in your head. But what if I told you that your emotional freedom lies in something simple? Observing without attaching. Just imagine every harsh comment, every demand, every toxic behavior around you is like a passing cloud. And you are the sky, vast, quiet, unshaken. The cloud doesn't change the sky. It simply passes through. When you start seeing yourself that way, as that calm, expansive sky, you shift. You stop being the target, and you become the presence. That's the foundation of conscious observation, not denying what's happening, not fighting it, just noticing, feeling, letting it pass. The person who's yelling, you don't have to respond. The snarky comment doesn't need a comeback. The emotional poison doesn't need to be swallowed or thrown back. You can simply choose not to play the game. But here's the key. That's not detachment. It's emotional maturity. Reacting on autopilot, that's losing yourself. Observing with awareness, that's staying whole. So next time something tries to hook you emotionally, try this little ritual. Take a breath. Gently tap your wrist and say to yourself, I see it, but I don't hold on to it. That small, subtle gesture sends a signal to your awareness and severs the invisible cord of reactivity. You don't have to be pulled into every storm. You can be the sky that lets them pass. Have you ever gotten emotionally caught up in something that didn't deserve that much of your energy? Drop a comment with what gets to you most. I'll send back a practical technique to help you release it with ease. 8. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your peace. Have you ever felt guilty for feeling good? Ever noticed the side eyes when you chose silence over a fight? Or distance instead of drama? Some people feel uncomfortable around your peace, not because you're arrogant, but because your calm exposes the noise inside of them. Here's what happens. When you start taking care of yourself, when you stop sacrificing your well-being for other people's comfort, you stop fueling the emotional dynamics that once kept you stuck, and those who benefited from your imbalance, they start getting uncomfortable with your quiet. You stop responding to toxic texts. You stop saying yes to draining invitations. You stop people-pleasing to keep things looking good. And then, here it comes. You've changed. You're distant. You're acting weird. But changing isn't betrayal, it's growth. Distance isn't coldness, it's a boundary. And sometimes weird is just you, coming back to yourself. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your peace. You don't have to justify why you stayed quiet, why you left early, why you didn't respond right away, why you ended the conversation. Your peace is sacred, and what's sacred doesn't need debate. It needs respect. So next time someone demands too many explanations for your calm, ask yourself, why does my peace bother them so much? And the answer usually has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with what they haven't found within themselves. You're allowed to move on. Light, free, unapologetic, no guilt, no weight, no need to explain yourself to people who never really wanted to understand it. Just control. Comment below. My peace needs no explanation. And watch how many women stand with you, choosing that same silent, powerful path. 9. Choose your inner battles wisely. You don't have to respond to everything. You don't need to correct every injustice. You don't have to clap back at every criticism you hear. Some things drain too much energy and give you almost nothing in return. How many times have you lost sleep over an argument that in hindsight wasn't even worth 5 minutes? How many conversations have you replayed in your mind trying to craft the perfect comeback that never came? That's because we've been wired, especially as women, to fight, to seek approval, to earn validation, to defend our emotional truth at all costs. But living in a constant internal battle, needing to be right all the time, is a fast track to burnout. Here's a truth that might change the way you protect your energy. Not every battle is yours, and sometimes between being right and being at peace, you get to choose peace. Now, that doesn't mean silencing your voice. It means knowing when silence is wiser than a response, when space is smarter than confrontation, and when your energy is too valuable to waste on explaining yourself. Start practicing this in the moment. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace? If the answer is no, choose stillness. If the answer is yes, choose clarity, not chaos. This daily choice reshapes you. You become more selective with what enters your emotional field. You realize that peace doesn't mean the absence of problems. It means the presence of clarity. You're not here to fix everyone. You're here to keep your light on, even when the world around you tries to dim it. If that speaks to your soul, leave a comment below. I choose peace. I'll send you a short, powerful practice to sharpen your emotional boundaries and save your energy for what really matters. 10th, let absence be medicine. Sometimes the most powerful act of love is stepping away, even if it hurts, even if they don't understand, even if you start to question yourself. Because staying where your energy is constantly drained isn't presence, it's survival. And no relationship is worth the cost of your emotional health. Sometimes you pull back and the other person gets offended. They say you've changed. They say you disappeared. But what they don't realize is you've been disappearing inside yourself for a long time. Conscious absence is not rejection. It's a pause, a healing, a boundary. It's the chance to breathe beyond the noise, to hear yourself again, to come back to your center. And the beautiful thing about silence, it reveals the truth. It shows you what was love and what was dependency, what was care and what was control, who genuinely misses you and who just misses access to your energy. Walking away doesn't have to be forever, but sometimes it needs to be for now. A season to remember who you are, to clear the fog, to hear your own heart without interference. And when you return different, more whole, more grounded, more clear on who truly deserves a seat at your table, because presence only has meaning when it comes from someone who's learned to enjoy their own company first. Feel like you need space to heal from a relationship or situation? Comment, I deserve space. I'll show you how to use absence as a form of self-care without guilt. 11th, strengthen your inner practice. Have you ever noticed how the hardest days are the ones where you wake up on autopilot? You get up, you rush, you answer, you adapt, and before you know it, the whole day is past, and you've been completely disconnected from yourself. That's when it hits you the hardest. You snap easily. You absorb everyone else's emotions. And it feels like even the smallest thing can take you down. What you're missing in those moments isn't strength. It's roots. And roots are built through inner practice. It doesn't matter if the world feels chaotic, if people are off balance, if the news feels heavy and overwhelming. When you have a sacred space within, you have a safe haven. That space doesn't show up by accident. It's something you create with a small ritual, a conscious breath, a quiet prayer, a few lines in your journal, a pause long enough for the world to hush and for you to come home to yourself. Building your inner practice is like lighting a candle every day. And no matter how much darkness surrounds you, that light, your light, stays on. And when your inner light is strong, you don't need to raise your voice to be heard. You don't need to defend yourself constantly, because your presence becomes your protection. Create that space, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Close your eyes. Breathe. Place your hand on your chest and say quietly, "In here, I lack nothing. In here, I come back to myself." Over time, that practice becomes a home, and that home becomes your strength. Want a simple guide to create your personal inner sanctuary? Drop a comment. I'm ready to build my inner refuge. I'll send you a step-by-step you can start, even with little time, but with real intention. 12th, stop carrying pain that isn't yours. How many times have you felt completely drained, but couldn't explain why? How many times have you cried over a pain that wasn't even yours, but you held it like it was? This is something that happens to people with big hearts, to those who love so deeply that they try to soak up someone else's suffering with their own body, with their own soul. But here's a truth that might set you free. Loving someone doesn't mean carrying their pain. You can care without overcarrying. You can support without absorbing. You can listen without taking it all on. Because if every time someone hands you their pain, you take it in as your own, who's taking care of you? Don't confuse empathy with emotional fusion. Just because someone's hurting doesn't mean you need to suffer too. You can offer presence without losing your peace. Often, in trying to ease someone else's burden, you end up abandoning yourself. That's not love. That's a pattern, a survival habit from someone who learned long ago that love requires self-sacrifice. But here's the good news. You don't have to keep repeating that. The next time someone dumps their pain on you, ask yourself, silently, kindly, is this mine to carry? If the answer is no, hand it back, with love, with compassion, but still, hand it back. Because carrying what isn't yours doesn't heal them, it just breaks you. To love consciously is to remember. Your light wasn't made to put out other people's fires. It was made to light your own way. If you're ready to stop carrying what isn't yours, type, "I choose to love without pain." I'll share a short energetic release ritual that brings instant relief. Now, breathe with me. If you can, close your eyes for a few moments. Relax your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. Place one hand on your chest and the other on your belly. Feel your breath. It's right here with you. Simple, quiet, steady. It's your reminder that you're still here, whole, present, alive. And as you breathe, repeat this silently in your mind without pressure. My peace is non-negotiable. I choose to protect my light. I am safe within myself. Once again, my peace is non-negotiable. I choose to protect my light. I am safe within myself. You don't have to absorb what isn't yours anymore. You don't have to shrink yourself to please others. You don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You can love lightly. You can exist firmly. You can protect yourself with grace. Everything you need is already inside of you. Take another deep breath. Feel the calm this moment is offering you, and remember, whenever the world gets too loud, this inner space is your safe place. Now, gently begin to open your eyes. Come back slowly, but bring this peace with you. If this practice touched something in you, Leave a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel for more soul-nourishing content. And share this with someone who might need to reclaim their peace today. I'll see you in the next session. Thank you for showing up and for protecting your light.